Hi, I'm Karen for Expert Village. We'll be making our Sufganiyot batter in an electric mixer. Let's start with our warm water. Remember, you want that water to be warm to the touch, but not hot. Too hot water will kill your yeast. So you want that to be just warm to the touch. And we're using a half a cup of warm water. I'm going to add that to our mixing bowl. And then 1 tablespoon of yeast, and we'll add that to our mixing bowl. I'm just going to stir that around a little to get the yeast mixed in and set that to dissolve. And while we're waiting for our yeast to dissolve, I'm going to separate one of our eggs because our recipe calls for 1 whole egg and 1 egg separated. So we'll just crack that egg. And I'm going to crack the egg open very carefully like this and let the bottom shell hold the yolk and let the white sort of drip out into our bowl. You want to make sure there is a bowl there to catch that. And we're going to use that white. We'll save that aside. You can use that in another recipe. We're not using it in this recipe. And we're going to use our yolk. The extra yolk gives the dough a little more richness, a little more yellow color, and a little more richness. So we have 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk, and I'll add that to our yeast in our water. I'm going to add the 2 tablespoons of sugar. Okay, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to mix that up to get the egg and the sugar and everything incorporated before we add our flour. Okay, just a little bit to get that incorporated. Then you want to add about 2 cups of the flour. Don't add all of the flour. Our recipe calls for 2½ cups. We don't want to add all the flour because you might make a dry dough. You want to first incorporate most of the flour while it's have it a nice moist dough, and then if you feel like it needs a little more, you add a little more at a time. So we'll put that up and we'll just mix that with a regular mixing beater. And you want to, you'll see, let me show you what the dough looks like. Okay, it will start to come together, and then I'll show you in a little while. It'll come together as a nice, soft, smooth ball. Now, when you're making a small amount of dough like this, you don't need to use a dough hook. A dough hook is for a larger amount. The paddle is just fine for a small amount of dough that we're making.